So good morning to all of you, respected Major General Bakshi. Now I am extremely happy to be here. The research that now we have been doing on the Saraswati and how we can take to the logical conclusion. I am requesting General Bakshi to take a lead in establishing a center for Saraswati studies. I think the government of India should do that. Is of high quality, accepted by the scholarly world. Even today, the textbook do not discuss about beyond Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. People do not know about Rakigadi, Dholavira, Lothal, very important sites in India. That information, and we have done so much research, very scientific research on the archaeology of this region. But unfortunately, that research is not really finding the place in the textbook. And naturally, we are not really, educating the people of the country, and therefore there is a lot of misunderstanding about the civilization, about the relevance of the civilization, etc. We have reconstructed the history of the early civilization. We know the history now. We know the town planning of the Harappans, the material culture of the Harappans. But we need to go beyond, right? Let me give you one example. I was discovering a site very close to Rakigadi, small site called Garsola. And we had a special case in fact in the form of the former Prime Minister's daughter, Upinda Singh, who was the professor of Delhi University here. And with her, of course, being a daughter of the Prime Minister, with her there were a lot of IAS and IPS officers. And I was surprised, I was showing the events to the students and Upinda Singh. And I was surprised to hear some comments coming from these officers. And working in this small village in Haryana, this is the waste of the national wealth. They are wasting their own time. Second comment was that maybe there is some wealth buried here. So people want to discover that wealth, and that is the intention of this thing. And the last comment was very interesting. Somebody said that these people did not get an opportunity to play the dust when they were children. They are playing now. So this is the level of understanding among the people who are supposed to be the king in the society. We are not made aware about the importance of the subject. So that needs to be done in fact, because people should really understand the significance, importance of the Indian heritage, which is so important. Secondly, we are connected in fact. We are not really disconnected like the Europe or America. We have very strong roots in fact. We identify our roots in fact, in the 5,000-year-old civilization. Particularly at Rakigadi, on one side we have modern habitation, 10,000 people living on this side. On the other side, we have 5,000-year-old civilization. And these people, they connect themselves to the ancient civilization. So we are not really detached from that. And that is very important, that perhaps India is one of the few countries, perhaps China and India, where we have very long history. In fact, the roots are going back to 5,000, 6,000, and now almost 9,000 years. Basic science, basic technology. Now that was introduced 5,000, 6,000 years ago, and perfected by the Harappans, in fact by maybe 5,000 years ago. And lot of that continues on today, and we know that there are a lot of people who are still dependent on that, on this particular the what we call as the Indian knowledge system. So that is so relevant. In fact, the knowledge that we are generating, that should reach to these people, and we try to make their life better. In fact, by providing the knowledge of the technology used by the ancient people, which was much higher than better than the technology used by the present craftsmen. And lastly, how this knowledge that we are generating, how it is relevant today. One example, just I'll give you that, and then I will end my introductory part. That the Harappans had developed such a unique water harvesting and water management system, perhaps unique in the world, and still it is unique. But I don't really find parallel to that. If that that is found in fact at the site of Dholavira. Dholavira was established in fact in the desert part, and people Harappans were aware that there is a dearth of water here, but they made the arrangement there. Very excellent arrangement. If you can, apply that method, Harappan method today, because today, the nearest town is 110 kilometers, Rapar, and between Rapar and Dholavira, there are hardly 5 or 6 villages, And people are not establishing settlement there, mainly because of the dearth of water. But if you can apply the Saraswati method, like the simple indigenous method, the entire Kutch will be a green land. So this is the relevance in fact. Now I'm just giving you an example that this is the relevance of the ancient civilization and how we can make use of that, how we can put the ancient knowledge and knowledge system to the use. That is very important. Now coming to the this particular session, I'm extremely happy that we have two more very renowned archaeologists speaking about the discoveries made in this region. Dr. Sanjay Manjul. Recently he has been promoted to the Joint Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India, and shortly he is going to take up this position in fact in the Archaeological Survey of India. But presently he is heading the Institute of Archaeology, which trains archaeologists for the service of the Archaeological Survey of India basically. So this is, and he has conducted a very important work, very important excavation at two places in fact. One is the Sanoli, which is a very very important site because for the first time we have discovered the chariot in fact, which needs to be really properly highlighted, and the significance of this discovery needs to be brought to the entire world. Coming to the Saraswati Basin, in 1965, one of our students, a lady student, she conducted the fieldwork in fact in a very difficult terrain of the country, in fact in the desert part of the country, in Bikaner and Jaisalmer area in that part. And she had discovered nearly 450 sites, Harappan sites, they were recorded. And in 2006 again, I wanted to take the lead and take the trail of these sites that she had discovered. I wanted to document them properly and make a proper documentation of that. But to my surprise, I noticed that there are only maybe hardly 1 dozen sites left today, and all the other sites, such an important source of the country, now they have been destroyed completely. They have been leveled by the farmers and converted the site or the mounds into agriculture, flat agriculture fields. So we have to really make sure that whatever is left today at least, that should be at least protected and protected for the posterity, because that's really important. And that is the reason I went back to the Saraswati Basin and started the work at very important sites. Secondly, I took the challenge in fact. The Archaeological Survey of India excavated the site of Girana, a very very important site, and that site produced very early dates, going back to 6,000, almost 6,500 BC for the beginning of the Harappan culture. But most of the scholars, including Indian scholars, they were not ready to accept the dates. Completely, I don't know why they were not. Most of the scholars had accepted the dates from the site of, Mehergarh, when it was excavated, because that site was excavated by a French scholar, and we had no problems in fact in accepting the dates provided by the foreigners. But these dates were provided by the Indian scholars, and there were a lot of doubts in fact raised. Some say that maybe the dates are contaminated, so the dates are not right. Some say that maybe the excavation method that Indians are following is not maybe scientific. So these are the comments, not ready to accept. And what the other comment was that maybe there is only one site from where we have the dates. We should have dates from different sites. And that is the reason why I undertook the excavations at Girawat, which is a very very important early Harappan sites in that region. The main aim was to understand the history and get the dates. Chronology of these sites is very important. So we did, and I did that. Then I went to the site of Mitatal. We have number of dates from that site, and also the site of Parmana. And thereafter I came to the site of Lahiri. And all these three sites, Girawat, Mitatal and Parmana, they also have provided number of dates, series of dates now, which are going back to 5,500 BC. And there are few dates which are 6,000 BC. So at this stage, I am putting this, the beginning of the Harappan culture in this region, in the Saraswati region, to at least 5500 BC. We need more dates, of course. I'm doing that in fact at the site of Bakshi. So now people have to believe me, right? We have scientific data. They cannot deny this particular data that we have generated. In 2010-11, I used to visit. In fact, every time whenever I was excavating at Parwana, this is the most important site in the country. I said that your village has a great history, and that great history needs to be brought to the notice of the entire world, not only the country. And I also said that your village has contributed immensely to the history of the country and to the history of the world. I said that don't you want to know the entire world that this is the important village in the country? And slowly they realize that that this our village is so important. And they said that okay, we will allow you to do some limited work. And later they realized that this is a very, very important work that is happening in the village. And now they say that they are inviting them. They say that come and do this more work. We are there to help you. So that is very important. That what we call as community archaeology or public archaeology is a very important part of the of this whole exercise. And then people realize that this is a very important site in the country and this needs to be saved. Even though it is a part of the Archaeological Survey of India, it is protected by the Archaeological Survey of India. But because of the lack of maybe sufficient manpower, they are not able to protect the site properly. So the work that we have done, in fact, in the Saraswati Basin. Now there is no doubt about the identification of the Saraswati river. Multidisciplinary approaches conducted have already established the presence of Saraswati. The only information that we do not have is when the river Saraswati has disappeared. Because we have tried very hard, in fact, to find out this particular event. The geologists have tried, but so far there is no positive result. But let me tell you that the archaeology can give you some hint, in fact, about when the river has gone dry. Because when we conducted the work, in fact, now this is, I'll just come back to the site. This is the area of the Harappan civilization, a very large area occupied by the Harappans. In the contemporary world, this was a sort of empire. Very strong evidence about the beginning and gradual growth of the Harappan culture. This type of peaks, in fact, have been found. One family, in fact, own maybe 3 or 4 peaks, and that form a cluster. And we are noting that the function of each cluster was different. In fact, 1 or 2 were used for building purpose, 1 for storage purpose, 1 for cooking purpose, like that. And these are so this is the kind of beginning that we notice, in fact, in the Harappan period. It is not that the town planning or the cities have come suddenly. There is a long precedence for that, and this begins, in fact, around 6000 BC, and then gradually evolves up to 2500 BC, and then there is a transformation. So this is a very important evidence we have been mentioning, and they are big studies because in some of them we actually find the fireplace and the evidence of the dwelling. Then in the next stage, of course, the people have started building structures overground, and there is in the early stage, of course, we find this type of rectangular or square structures, and then they have also produced the building material in the form of the bricks. They have used both, in fact, the mud bricks and the burnt bricks also. And particularly the burnt bricks here, you can see they were used in the toilet or the bathroom. And also you can see that they have begun the typical, the concept of tandoor, which continues on today. And this is the earliest evidence of that, in fact, coming from the site of Parmana, dated to 3200 BC. So this concept begins, in fact. In the next stage, of course, organized structures, then we find small structures. And in the third stage, of course, they become, the site become, bigger and bigger. And then in the last stage, of course, this type of planning comes into existence. A very well planned. But you can see here, we can see a street here, maybe small street or lane, and then you can see the planning, modicum of planning or perfect planning that comes into existence. So there is a gradual growth, in this particular activity, and this is very important that there is a origin of the culture here, and there is a growth of the culture. You can see the evidence, actually, the data that has been excavated. So this is how there is a growth in kind of the culture. We get very good evidence about the activities carried out in different complexes. It's one of the features of the Harappans. This is the data coming from the site of Parmana. Number of burials at the site of Parmana we excavated. Parmana was excavated the particular cemetery was excavated on very large scale. And one of our intention was, of course, to extract DNA from this, because unless you have DNA, perhaps you will not be able to talk about the people, the composition of the population, and the relation with the contained population, and the continuity. So that data now, of course, we have. But here, in fact, we reasonably failed. Right? We did not get any data, DNA data from the burials. Even though we excavated 70 burials, we did not get any evidence from this. And that is mainly because of our method. In fact, we excavated all the burials, 70 burials at a time. We kept them open for long because we wanted the people to come and see them. So these are the different kinds of burials. One is the primary burial, where the dead body was placed immediately after the death. These are some of the primary burials. You can see some of the burial goods also. We find pots which contain food and water. In fact, we have analyzed the pots from the site of the burials of Parmana, and one we found, of course, the traces of the food. But one very interesting evidence that we came across, the evidence of Indian curry, and the antiquity of Indian curry goes back to the Harappan times. In some of the pots we find ginger, turmeric, and traces of the brinjal also. Then the second kind of burials we get are the symbolic burials, in which, of course, the dead body was kept open for some time, maybe somewhere outside, like the Parsis do today, and they collected some bones, and then bones were buried in a pit, along with the maybe burial goods like pots, ornaments sometimes, and the tools. And the third one, of course, is symbolic burial. We have burial pit, we have burial goods, but no trace of any human bones at all. So probably the person died somewhere, his body could not be retrieved, but they thought of giving ceremonious burial to the person, and that's how we have the symbolic burials like this. Then I come to the site of Rakigiri, a very, very important site. And of course, these are the map prepared by the archaeologists of India when they were excavating between 1997 and 2000. And they had identified 7 different mounds at the site. We have discovered 2 more mounds. There are now 9 mounds, and there was a lot of when we came here, in fact, there was a lot of controversy about the total area of the site, how big the site is. Different estimates were given. Even Dr. Beaster also given estimate. So some say that it is 60 hectares, some say that it is 80 hectares, some say that maybe it is more than 200 hectares. But we have we have no knowledge about the total area of the site, and no efforts in fact were made to find out or measure the total area, important part of the site, and only small portion of the site. It's not still there is almost 50 hectare site and it's still available for large scale work and research. But this is a part of the site which is still intact. These are the parts. This part also, and perhaps the main mound number 4, which is probably the citadel mound, that is under occupation. But you can see now whatever is left, in fact, the site is so well preserved, not a scratch on this mound number 2. Also the more views. Now why Rakigiri? In fact, I mentioned that such an important site. But then, of course, we went there, with some research problems. And, three important problems now I would like to mention. We are not intending to excavate the site on large scale, like maybe Mohenjo-daro or Harappa. Extract DNA from the skeletal remains, so excavate some parts of the barriers and get DNA so that we can undertake further research on that. The site will be excavated with in collaboration with the state government. And this is the methodology that we adopted. We did not really go for classical excavation. And then we also thought that people, there needs to be done something for the people also. So we have some programs, like community development programs, as a part of this research project. I did in fact a lot of persuasion in fact in the initial stage, and that has paid rich dividend in fact now, and people are happy that the work is happening. So as I said that initially we started the systematic survey of the site. So we did undertake this the total station survey, and we have prepared this 3D maps of the site. The red portion shows the presence of the site or the visibility of the site, and the grey portion shows the area that is under the modern occupation. And also we did this ground penetration radar survey at the site. We scanned the whole site, and we also had set up a working station in front of the site. And this data is very, very important. This method is so important. This is a non-destructive method. You don't need a lot of funding for this. You don't need a lot of big thing for this. And the total station in fact sends this laser beam. And then of course our data has we have analyzed the data, and we have been able to identify different activity areas with the help of this, and plus the total area of the site. The two mounds that we have discovered. And then of course next in fact what we did before the excavation, because ours was targeted excavation and we wanted to find out the evidence of the craft manufacturing. That was one of our issues also. So where exactly over such a large area, where exactly activities was performed. So what we did in fact, we did this the sampling survey. In fact, we collected data from the site, and then of course we analyzed, and we could identify the different activity areas. You can see in fact here we could identify the activity of manufacturing of pottery, manufacturing of maybe metal objects, manufacturing of the shape these terracotta bangles, even make these viands, etc. So these are the cluster that we, and then of course we undertook the excavation. Firstly to identify or to reconstruct the complete history of the site, and this was our main trade. You can see that it has got nearly 23-meter deposit, the highest, thickest deposit at any Harappan site. These are some of the early Harappan structures. We did a lot of research on the early Harappan. But this is very important that we, on one mound number 2, we had hypothesized on the basis of the surface studies, surface indication that the activities, craft activities were carried out on mound number 2. And we wanted to confirm whatever hypothesis we had made on the basis of that, whether that hypothesis is true or not. And we did find, in fact, a lot of, you can see the platforms, working platforms. And this is the evidence of the manufacturing activity. We have found platforms, furnaces on the platforms. And what is interesting that we have this at different levels. Very interesting, because that shows the hereditary succession of the craft activity in the Harappan levels, carried forward from generation to generation. And this is very important evidence that we have. This is part of the granary that we excavated. And then of course the main intention, of course, main research was in the cemetery. This is a part of the cemetery that. Now, what we did, in fact, before the excavation, we had a very thorough discussion with the Korean scientists. We developed a research program with them. The Seoul National University has a very fine forensic science department, and some of the scientists from that department are working on ancient DNA. So we came in contact, and they suggested that the methodology needs to be slightly modified. First, they say that you have to take proper precaution, that use this precaution when you are excavating the barriers, so that there is no contamination of the modern DNA, in fact, in the ancient samples. And second, they say that you expect one by one burial, document that properly, and then collect the samples and send to the laboratory. So the work was conducted by using this precaution, and now we know that there is absolutely there is no contamination in the ancient samples. Second, our other aim was to reconstruct the facial features of the Harappans, how the Harappans were looking like. And that, that research is happening in fact collaboration with the Korean scientists. And we have completed that research and we have already submitted the paper for publication. I'm not going to give you the details until the paper is published. But the Harappans were not different. The modern people are not different from the Harappans. They look like Harappans only. And we have, particularly, we have 5 such individuals where we have undertaken this research. Then this is a very important burial. There was a big article on the couple burial. Why we call them as couple? Because this was given, one is male and one is female. There is no injury marks on body. But we call them as couple because they are buried within the common cemetery and they are buried with all complete honor. Had they had some kind of maybe illicit relationship, they would not have been given this type of treatment. Therefore, I believe that the concept of family may be started from the Harappan times. Some more burials. This is very important. But today, we go, we place a dead body on the fire, and we go around and break pots. So this is the evidence. We have around the burials. We have this type of evidence. So probably that concept again, that tradition started by the Harappans. I did very extensive sample. We took all the precautions while doing sampling also. And this is how we did we proceeded with the scientific research on these skeletal remains. Then we also have done the the craniofacial reconstruction, the 3D reconstruction of the Harappan people. Then we have done the parasitology. This is very important. The new field developed by the Korean scientists. In case you do not get DNA in the bones, then there is a likelihood that that the DNA is present in fact in the parasite eggs. And in every human body, in fact, in our body also, there are parasite eggs because of the maybe contaminated water, etc. And when the dead body is buried, the parasite eggs remain. Maybe other things disappear, but the parasite eggs remain. And sometimes they contain even DNA of the person. So the Koreans have done scientifically research on that, and we are doing research on that also. So far, there is no success, but we are trying our best. So we did this also very scientific research, and then lastly, how the site can be preserved, because there is a major challenge. Most of the structures at the site, they are made of only mud bricks. Not only at this site, but everywhere. And we know that in India, even in the world also, there are very few specialists who can really help us in preservation of that. One way, in fact, of preserving the part of the settlement for the public is that we can raise these type of domes on the site. But certainly the site needs to be protected and preserved, and certainly it will be huge attraction. Why? Let me tell you just before I end my. Why people are not really studying the Harappan culture. Today, in fact, there are hardly, most of the Harappan archaeologists are sitting here only. Hardly 6 or 7, Harappan archaeologists are working. In Egypt, how many archaeologists are working? More than 300 archaeologists are working in Egypt on the Egyptian civilization. And they have produced more than 300 books. They are not really able to produce even half of the books on Harappan civilization. And fortunately, lastly, I would like to tell that the government of India, they have, particularly this is the initiative of the Prime Minister of the country, that they are developing a huge national maritime heritage complex near Lothal, very close to the ancient site. And that is a very important development coming up in the country. And here in fact we would like to showcase the maritime heritage, such a huge maritime we have, right from the maybe Lothal up to Bay of Bengal, and we can show the trade activities, the monuments in fact along the coastal part, the communities who are living in the coastal part at one place. This is a very important initiative taken by the Prime Minister of the country, and the government is realizing the importance of the developing of the the cultural heritage in the country, and I'm sure that we can generate so much revenue from the tourism industry that it will benefit the country, and that needs to be really. I'm of the opinion that we need to market our heritage also properly, so that we generate enough revenue, and that revenue partly used for the maintenance of the site, maintenance of the heritage, protecting of the heritage. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry I have taken a lot of time. I think what we can do is that we can, at the end of the session, up to then we can have discussion. So I think I will now invite Dr. R.S. Beast. Dr. R.S. Beast has very illustrative career. In fact, he started his career in fact with the state government of Haryana, and then of course he joined Organised of India and retired as the Joint Director General. But during his career, in fact, with the office, his stint with the Organised of India, he has conducted very important excursions, and the iconic excursion that he did, in fact, was the site of Thulavira. Perhaps I consider the site of Thulavira much more important than Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, because the type of evidence that we have on this particular site. So today we will be speaking about his opinion about on the Harappan culture or